In this video, I want to share the things I did and prioritize when I arrive in the US on K1 visa. If you're in the same process, this might help you decide what to focus on first and why it matters, especially for your adjustment of status. So first, my fiance and I discussed when we should get married. So I arrived in October 2024 and my visa was valid only for 90 days. So we decided on a December wedding. And then I scheduled my social security number appointment. So just some states require an SSN to get a marriage license. But here in the state that I'm currently living, in specifically in Washington, so they don't require that. So we only needed IDs, which is I use my Philippine passport and he used his driver's ID license. But I got my SSN early because I needed it to open a joint bank account. Third is my fiance added me to the lease of our apartment. So they gave me a proof of address. So something I needed for both the bank and later for my green card application. The next thing I did, we opened a joint bank account even before we got married. So I was using my maiden name or my single name when we opened a joint bank account. So he also added me as an authorized user on his credit card. So these things help show that we were managing our finances together as a couple. So the next step we did is we went to the county's auditor's office to get our marriage license. And then we looked for a judge who could officiate our courthouse wedding. And then after finding one, we also looked for a wedding photographer to capture our wedding day. And then we set the date, informed his parents, and since they'd be our primary witness on our wedding. I also invited my one of my childhood best friend, which is currently living in California. So she just flew from Cali to Washington just to attend for my wedding. And then we got married in December. So after the wedding, he added me to help to his health insurance. And then just a tip, check with your fiance's insurance provider. With his insurance at work, it requires a marriage certificate. So we could only do it after getting married. So he only added me as dependent on his insurance at work after we got married because it requires a marriage certificate. And then after that one, I applied my Washington state ID under my married name. So this getting a state actually helped me a lot because I used this when I flew to California. So you can use any government issued ID here in the US if you are going to travel within different states. And then when I took my knowledge and driving test, I didn't have to do the application because I already have my license number from my state ID. So the state ID license number will also be the same license number on your driver's license. But here's the thing, this is one thing that you need to consider and an important note because since my state ID was a standard ID, but actually there is a new policy or a law now. So if your ID is not a real ID or an enhanced, here in Washington we call it enhanced ID, so we cannot use it any longer at the for domestic flights starting May 7, 2025. So if you are planning that to get a standard ID and not real ID, then you cannot use that when you travel to different states. But anyway, you can still use your Philippine passport to for domestic flights here in the US. So another thing to note, you cannot get real ID or enhanced ID from what I understood if you are not an American citizen yet. So only US citizens are eligible to get real ID or enhanced ID. Lastly, in January 2025, we filed my adjustment of status and work permit applications. So why did I prioritize all this? Because things like being on the lease of the apartment, if you have a house, you're lucky. I mean, if your fiance has a house, then you're lucky. With ours, we are just renting in an apartment. So soon as I arrived here, he added me on the lease of the apartment. We opened a joint bank account. I was added on as an authorized user on his credit card. We shared and also I updated my ID under my married name. So these things are all solid proof for your adjustment of status. So they show you are building a life together and that your relationship is real. So here are the things that I did when I arrived here in the US on a K1 visa. So hope this video helps and let me know if you want some questions or clarifications. See ya!